Hi, we're finally here. 3 years in the making. This podcast has always been something that I've been hesitant to make and develop and serve because of various reasons. But ever since I decided to go full time at In Silence in November 2023, everything that's needed by this vision and the mission has been unfolding beautifully each day. And the podcast has always been needed. Several people have clamored for it. And through my day-to-day conversations with many people around the world, whether it's our advisors, my mentors, supporters of In Silence, friends and family, and just revelations through the preparation and the building and the coming together of everybody that's needed and everything that's required to build this virtual ashram has always given that sense of we need a podcast. So today, I welcome you to the very first episode of In Silence's Conscious Conversations, where we talk about, or I reflect upon, or I even interview conscious humans who are either navigating work and life and other aspects of being within the spirituality and technology spaces and other domains in life like mathematics, um, art, space, astrology, anything and everything that's needed to give birth to the virtual ashram that is in silence. And we already have spoken to a lot of amazing human beings. Um, But at the last minute, I decided, okay, the first episode for In Silence's podcast has to be an introduction of In Silence, right? And although I've spoken so many times about the vision and the mission and how In Silence came to be, I think a proper podcast episode, as if I'm talking to you, and by the way, you are as an essential player and contributor to this, whether you are just watching from the sidelines or have spoken to us one way or another, or actively contributing some form of energy or any material things, or your time or your knowledge, expertise, your network, whatever it may be. I want this to feel like a very raw, we're just talking like friends and like human beings. I feel like us humans, especially after the 3 year lockdown, so many so many aspects of our being have shifted. And a major observation is that the way that we interact with each other as human beings have totally changed. While we are deeply connected through technology, we also seem to have disconnected from each other physically, electronically, when we're communicating through text, through voice, through video, in person. I think all of us would agree that a lot has changed in the dynamics of human beings living the day-to-day lives and interacting with each other, living our lives, making decisions, loving each other. So, part of our mission at In Silence is to remind us of our humanity. And through In Silence, the virtual ashram that is already here, already actually, we are offering a few things. So, we are definitely going to have, there is an online school. A virtual ashram is essentially a digital school. Virtual meaning digital online, as long as you have Wi-Fi and an electronic gadget that can connect to the Wi-Fi, you can access that school. Ashram is a place of learning, um, with much bigger breadth and deeper depth. And apart from the virtual school, where we are teaching the symbiotic relationship and the interconnected, interrelated dynamics of a spiritual practice and knowledge and experience and literacy in deeper and higher technology, we are also offering, or building, should I say, AI avatars that will help you not just be guided into the virtual ashram, but also be entertained along the way and be inspired. Because, learning has to be fun, right? And we want you to feel immersed, and we want you to feel like it's the most normal thing to interact with these artificially intelligent virtual machines or virtual personas or digital humans. Because whether we like it or not, it is here now. It's been around, they're just growing. And similar to when the computer was first invented and then the internet was first invented, it wasn't easy for humans and society and communities to embrace them, but eventually it became an inevitable part of our lives. Eventually, AI and the other innovations, technological innovations that are much deeper and higher, will become essential to our day to day. And this is allowing humans to be instead of do. So that's why we're here. We want as many humans as possible to become literate and to become educated and experienced and equipped and ready to face the new world, the future that's waiting for us, where we are anchored in our spiritual ancient roots, where we came from, why we're here, what we're made of, how are we playing this game of life as we use technology to serve as mirrors, as reminders for us, as reflections of us. So there's an online school, there's the virtual assistants, two of them are coming out soon. There's a podcast. This is the first episode, and I am excited to present to you all of the human beings that I have interviewed in the last 3 months and the forthcoming ones. You will be mind blown by that. And there are a few more things in store later on. But as to not overwhelm you, we will start from there. I have been speaking to several people around the world who came into in silence naturally and divinely guided through the use of technology. And through these conversations, we are able to validate the need for this virtual ashram, for these conversations to happen, for how the bots or the virtual assistants or the virtual personas, digital humans, need to unfold to better serve humanity. The other mission of In Silence is to cut through the noise and to sort through the garbage on the internet. There's so much hype that's going on around about AI, cryptocurrency, metaverse, augmented reality, virtual reality. There's so much that's spoken about that's not really founded on an experience of building these machines. And so, what we want to do is clean up the space and just present to you the essential information that's based on data, based on experience of people who actually build these machines and not just repurpose content. We want to offer truthful information that's actually been experienced or made or studied by actual human beings who are here because they genuinely love deep technology and are sincerely interested in spreading and talking about spirituality as an essential part of human beings as a human being. People who come through in silence are usually mind boggled. The first things that come to mind, or the first things that are asked to me, is what are you doing? Why spirituality and technology? Why combine them? And it's always mixed with a deep level of curiosity and just interest, just genuine interest, because they tell me that it is actually needed in the world because people don't talk about it. People in the technological space don't talk about spiritual practices, holistic wellness, foundations of their spiritual beliefs and faiths, and are actually scared to get into that conversation. On the other hand, spiritual practitioners are afraid of tech, whether they are experimenting with tech or are actually skilled in technology, they don't want to mix it up. So the conversations within the spiritual space is tied and limited to that, the same way technological conversations stay within that realm. It is very rare to find people and communities and spaces and human beings who actually hold that space to talk about both worlds in the same breath. Now, the second question usually that's asked of me, why in silence and why build this spiritual ashram? Um, and I always give the same two talking points. One, I started to build in silence in 2018 because of my own personal need. I've been navigating a life of fragmentation, meaning the exact scenario where as a yoga practitioner at that time I wasn't certified. No, I just got certified as a yoga teacher. I thought I was going to become a yoga teacher while I was in India. I was preparing to become a yoga teacher, yoga practitioner, and I was preparing for a few more other certifications. Um, Having come from a technological career, I've always led tech teams around the world. My life then felt separated, where as a yoga practitioner, that's all I can talk about. As a tech leader, that's all I can be within that space. But when I entered the AI space in 2018, after I came back to Manila from India and got offered the opportunity to become an AI trainer in the beginning, I learned as I did my research, which was part of that job that I just took that time. At the same time, being exposed to stunning human beings who modeled to me how technology and brilliant ideas and brilliant minds are actually anchored on a very strong spiritual practice, that allowed me to openly live out and embody a symbiotic spiritual and technological life. So there was no longer a separation, it was no longer needed in my life. I was inspired and motivated and encouraged, and I was held in a space, in that AI space, where I can be me, who's both deeply spiritual practitioner at that time of yoga. Until now, I still do yoga, but I've expanded and I've expounded into wider domains of spirituality and deeper learnings of it, while working in the technological space, especially in AI, especially at that time when it wasn't as popular yet. In fact, there were only a handful of us who played the role of an AI trainer during that time in 2018. And I had role models, but even they did not openly talk about it. Now, that's the long winded first talking point and first response to why I built In Silence. The second part to it, the second talking point to that is because I'm building this not because of me and for me, but because a voice told me while I was in India before joining the AI company that I had to build something. The first time that that divine voice or guidance or spirit or God, you can choose what you want to call it. The first time I received that message, it was very vague and abstract. I was just told that you have to build something to educate people about a spiritual practice and your technological experience. And at that time, I did not know what to do. I wasn't sure if I was just imagining things or if it was really divine guidance or spirit or God or universe. And so sh- I shunned it, but it never left my mind and my heart and my soul. And every day, signals and symbols and signs and events and people were brought into my life to give even deeper meaning and to solidify that task, that mission that was in me. And so I returned to Manila and I went on to studying AI, and I was sent into a boot camp to become the AI trainer of this company and learn about financial technology and business, among other things. And through that 3-year experience, even more clarity was given to me. But then I had to move to Japan. And so that took a back seat again. So for the first 3 years in silence, at that time was called a different thing because I didn't know better. But eventually I called it In Silence. Um, and as a side note, In Silence, this is a third question, the third question that I usually get asked, why call it In Silence? So originally it wasn't called In Silence. It was called something else that was more of a tongue twister, but still meaningful. But I decided to call it In Silence apart from the divine guidance that's been guiding me. Because when I was in New York during one of my yoga immersions in Omega Institute for a specific New York based yoga school, very prestigious. I wanted to become a yoga teacher certified under that school, and I still want to be. But during that 1 week yoga immersion in Omega Institute, a very beautiful landscape retreat community, I saw some stickers that had the label In Silence on them. And there was a pile of those stickers. And so I asked around what it was for. And one of the staff of Omega Institute told me that those stickers are being used by individuals um, who would pay Omega Institute to like spend X number of days in Omega Institute to live in silence. And so they have to use that sticker and stick it to their clothing so that people would know that those people are living in silence. Therefore, no one should talk to them, no one should interact with them, no one should look at them. And they should be given that space and time and respect and honor to let them live in silence. And when I learned that, I was mind blown. I could not imagine myself living a minute in silence. And that was, I think it was in 2015 or 2016. And it never left my mind. Fast forward to 2018, it never occurred to me to call this school or this thing that I was supposed to do. It never occurred to me to call it In Silence. But again, through my own spiritual practice that became stronger and stronger and stronger, more clarity was given to me, and my my training and lessons and guidance from the Vipassana technique um, further enhance my clarity, I guess you can say, which led me to eventually deciding to call the virtual ashram In Silence. And so that's the third talking points, the third or third top question that people ask me about In Silence. And so now I've gone full time. I'm not just doubling down on this. I'm triple, quadruple um downing on this, and I am joined by a solid team. We just had our first team meeting today actually. Um we have a CTO, I have a CTO co-founder that you guys will meet when it's time. And I have three amazing humans that are helping me, three, four that are just not just helping me, but are actually offering their superpower to help co-create this. And we have an ally, not just an ally, but a string of allies, a group of allies around the world who have been supporting, advising, mentoring, guiding, helping us in many ways. And we continue to meet new people who come into our fields to make this happen. Now, this podcast is really to help, I guess, get you acquainted to this new space that we call spirit tech. You can also spirit tech or spiritual technology. Some people call it transformational tech or transformative tech. Some call it natural tech, nature tech, and there are a few other words to call this new space where in silence belongs to. But in the grand scheme of things, all of these are just labels. It really doesn't matter so much that our own personal, individual, genuine practices, the time that that we spend with ourselves, just being, that's the most important part. And we hope to be a part of your journey, whether you are a new practitioner of spirituality. And by spirituality, we're not talking about religion, we're talking about your own personal, unique spiritual practice of your choosing. And or if you are a new practitioner or professional within the technological space, or you are someone who's wanting to shift into one of those worlds, or you're currently a spiritual practitioner or a technologist wanting to upgrade or cross grade. For example, you're a yoga asana practitioner, you want to get into meditation. Or maybe you're a software engineer, you want to upgrade to become an AI engineer. Or you're a business person, you want to get into spirituality, into yoga, into traditional Chinese medicine, into sacred geometry. Or you're any kind of professional who want to become even more technological. Maybe you want to learn AI, data science, cybersecurity, um, intellectual property. What else? Singularity, cryptocurrency, blockchain, metaverse, augmented reality, virtual reality. So there's so many words that you will see if you haven't seen yet on the website. There are so many concepts and philosophies and principles that you will start learning more about and become acquainted with as you navigate this space that we are creating for you. So essentially, if you still want to ask us what is In Silence, In Silence is a space for humans to remember their essence through the help of ancient spiritual teachings and technological advancements, machines, innovations that's here now and are coming in the future. So we are trying to connect and marry old and new, ancient and futuristic, abstract, concrete, spirituality, technology. For the first year, we want to focus on yoga, on the spiritual side of things, and AI on the technological side of things. As far as the virtual ashram is concerned, we want to focus on that because there's so much under those umbrellas. In yoga alone, there's actually more to the physical asanas. Yoga is not just about headstands or downward facing dog. In fact, that's just one of the 8 limbs of yoga. There's many more to that. Deep technology and high technology and other names and forms of technology, there's also a gazillion more living there. And my theory is that the new human who will thrive in the new world that's beginning now and that will continue to evolve and upgrade and ascend in the future will need to embrace a different kind of embodiment. We need to evolve as a human species as fast, if not as fast, but faster than technology. So, you know how AI is evolving now, right? AI is beautiful. There are myths to it, there are also risks and threats to it. And so, if you understand the foundations of AI, there's no need to fear. That's one of the missions that we have. We want humans to embrace spiritual practices, or at least one spiritual practice, and at least one deep technology to become a part of their day to day, as normal as drinking water, as normal as showering every day. I want it to be as normal as or as accessible as being able to read and write. I think if we don't evolve into embracing and acquiring those skills and knowledge, we are going to be left behind. We are not setting up our species to get into a higher level of frequency, of vibration, of operation. It's not going to work anymore if we are just spiritual practitioners. We need to know deeper and higher and expansive level of technologies because jobs are changing, the workforce is changing, it is inevitable. Industries are adopting it. It's gonna take a while, and it's still not very late to start now or start tomorrow. But as long as In Silence is here, it's never gonna be late because we're entering a new era, literally, physically, societal, financially, economically, energetically, spiritually, mentally. We are entering a new era. Call it dimension if you like. A new world, a new season in the stars, a new astrological phase. There are so many words to it, but remember when the industrial age started decades ago from after the wars? We are entering a similar era where before the internet, there was analog, there was no smartphones, there was no Wi Fi. We are entering a similar era where AI might seem weird right now, or scary, or many other negative things. But soon, not too far from now, not too far from 2024, households and individuals like you and me will have our own AI virtual assistants, as normal as each of us having at least one smartphone or two smartphones. The white thing that you're seeing here, it's called a Google Home. A lot of us have this already. In our home, we have one Google Home and two Amazon Alexas. It's not quite usual yet for many homes, but for many people working in the tech space, especially in AI and machine learning, it's very normal. We've had this for 5 years now. So gadgets like that will become the norm, as normal as smartphones, laptops, speakers, um, iPads. Apart from that, embracing a spiritual practice, whether it's a meditative practice or a movement practice. And by movement, I mean maybe yoga asana or qigong or tai chi or some other form of movement or dance or similar other movements that will facilitate the body and the mind to heal and create space physically in our inner and outer worlds to hold more frequency of light. And now I'm beginning to start to speak woo woo, right? But this is not woo woo for those who have been on the spiritual path. But as you get to know and as you join us in this mission, in this vision, in this movement, you will slowly understand what I'm trying to say here, and how embracing a spiritual practice and a deeper, higher technological knowledge will help you strengthen your body, mind, spirit, and allow you to access higher levels of consciousness, therefore living better, loving more freely, moving even with even more freedom, and navigating life and relationships in a more with more clarity, becoming better stewards of the planet Earth, becoming better decision makers of work decisions or life decisions, becoming even better stewards of our relationships, and most important of all, two most important things of all, apart from being better stewards of the planet, is being better co-creatures or co-beings of the planet Earth, and being better stewards of our own bodies and minds. So we're not just talking about mental health here, we're not just talking about holistic health, we're talking about a revolution, creating a space for a revolution to unfold, where humans are operating from a much wider, deeper sense of knowing ourselves, operating, moving more freely, contributing more to society, having even more, or having autonomy and sovereignty in the things that we choose, in the life that we want to create, in the love that we want to experience, in the contribution that we want to leave in the world for the next generation. And maybe going to Mars. More on that soon. Space technology, more on that soon. We are excited to give you everything that we have in store for you. So I invite you to take a moment to just be still and just simmer in your presence and in your being. And just think about the things that you heard today from me, and maybe the things that you've seen on the website or things that you've seen on our social media. Tap into your heart, tap into your spirit, see if this resonates with you. If there's even a grain of curiosity in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, join us, connect with us. There are many ways within this episode. I will link everything, all our socials, the website, all the incoming and forthcoming offerings will be accessible in many ways to a lot of you. And we hope to see you in some of the gatherings that we have in store, whether in person or digitally, remotely. And we look forward to your thoughts and your feedback and questions and suggestions. But essentially, we are living in such exciting times on Earth and in the solar system, in the universe. And we hope that you start to see that exciting opportunity that's not going to come back again. Being alive here now in this era, in this point in time, in that place where you are now, in that land that you are honored to live in now, being here now. It's never going to happen again. This window of time where we are given that option to choose how we want our future to look like, where you and I and everyone else actually have the power and capacity and the resources. We just need to put the work in, but we have everything that we need here now. If we open our eyes and our heart and our bodies to all the magical opportunities and options and resources that we can use to help us elevate, ascend, and evolve in a more magical, enormously capable way, not just individually, but collectively, you will be mind blown by the things that you can do once you start seeing that unfold in your life. So, hopefully, this gives a high level overview of what we're trying to do here of the mission and the vision. More is coming. If you want to read more about this, the website is here. Some pages on the virtual ashram that's on beta is still available, but that's gonna evolve. It's actually currently evolving now behind the scenes. Our social media, we try to share as much as we can, and in the coming days and weeks, more will be available there. My Substack is another avenue to learn more about the space that we have created and the mission and the vision and the people who have joined this journey, this adventure. And you have to be a part of it. And this is here for you. This is not for me. This is not just for the team. This is really for you. This is for Mama Earth, Mama Gaia. This is for all of us humans. This is for the animals and the flora and the fauna that we are sharing this planet Earth with. This is for all the other planets in the system. This is for the universes. This is for the future, for our children. This is for our ancestors, the thousands of our ancestors for each human being who paved the way to this very moment right here, right now. So I will keep it at that so that we can start preparing the next episode for you. So exciting. You've seen her in our socials. I am so stoked to share her story in our conversation, my conversation with her, and all the other humans that I've spoken with, that I'm friends with. I have the honor of just being friends with, and the forthcoming human beings that I'm just truly, truly honored to either have worked with or just shared many similar and aligned interests, passions, and projects. So thank you so much. We are excited as you start to join us. And yeah, see you soon. See you on the next episode. Bye.